time where the movie started, facing at a photo they've taken. Space tree flying through the skies and battles happen everywhere.
Thanks for joining me, everyone. This is the DC Multiverse Todd McFarlane Superman Action Comics 1000. So I'm really trying hard to like this Superman. There's some good points, there's some bad points. I don't have that many Superman, even though I really like him, or the character, but I've never really found a lot of good ones out there that I was willing to pay for. This one was selling on Amazon for $19.87, and so I picked them up. And like I said, good points and bad points. This is as good as you're gonna really get for a true flight pose for him, I think. And why don't we go over some of his accessories before we go over the figure itself. Comes with this action trading card here, just like Batman did right here. And if you don't know Superman's bio, then I don't know why you're even watching this. So similar card for that Batman hellsuit. I don't think I'm going to try any more figures in this line, because those were really the two figures in this McFarlane's line that I was willing to get. So Superman comes with two pairs of hands, two open hands, which he comes with and are on the figure right now. He comes with a second right hand right here, which is kind of a pistol gripping hand. So I don't know why Superman needs a pistol gripping hand, but he's got it. And he's got a left closed-fisted hand. I would rather had probably two closed-fisted hands, because you aren't punching anyone with this sausage-fingered pistol gripping hand. So these hands look terrible. So as you can see, obviously Superman comes with this flight stand, which is nice to have. It's better than these McFarlane stands that come with all of his different figures. But let's take this guy off of here first. So it's nice that this stand's a little bit different. It does have the single peg here in case you wanted to stand him just on the peg itself. You could probably push this out, but I'm not willing to break this. It comes with this little clasp here. It's not spring loaded, it's just ratcheted, but it's strong enough. And this can tilt, so you can have them in a kind of vertical flying position if you'd like. But this is actually one of my favorite things that came with him. And why don't we take a look at the figure altogether. So in typical McFarlane fashion, he's got these ugly joints that we are all aware he was going to come with, because all those Fortnite figures have them. You know, these joints are similar to joints that they have in the Storm collectibles, but they hide them with extra pieces, or they elongate some of the clothing or something to hide it. So it's like, for example, you know, these little wrist things that Superman had on here, this could have been an extra piece which could have come down and covered this ugly articulation. So yeah, not ideal, but gets the job done. I do like the head sculpt compared to other Superman figures that we have around. You know, it's a lot nicer sculpt. His hair is too shiny. It's like he greases his hair. I guess, I don't know if that's a throwback to the 50s where it does look like he's greasing his hair. This cape has got a nice shape in general. Don't mind these paint flecks. I think those are from me. But, you know, there's no S on the back. I'm used to Superman having an S on the back. And it looks like it's kind of glued in there. So good luck trying to get that off. I'm sure you can get it off with some hot water and whatnot. I know there are a lot of customizers out there, or there are action figure collectors that like to have their custom capes. So it'll be interesting, you know, how it'll look with that. But I like this cape just fine. It just doesn't have the S logo on the back, which is how I remember Superman. You know, in general, he looks great. But his legs are a little bit thin compared to his upper torso. And I think part of that is also the fact that, just like with all of his McFarlane figures for the Mortal Kombat lines and what, I've noticed that the legs are too long compared to the rest of them. It would have been nicer if it was just a tad smidge shorter, would have been a tad bit thicker, and he'd look pretty good there. This S is done pretty nicely. McFarlane likes his big emblems, so both Superman and Batman Detective Comics have huge symbols on there. And it's painted really nicely, so that's good. But that S is, you know, this metallic S, which is, you know, doesn't fit with the rest of the coloring here. So everything else is more of a matte other than his hair and the S logo. So otherwise the colors are pretty good. I had some gross discoloration on my leg here. I don't know what that's about. I might try and use some acetone or something to try and remove that. But otherwise, you know, there's not much shading or anything on this figure. It's just all Sculpt. Sculpt is good, but you know, the playability of this figure isn't that great. He has a lot of different articulation, but it just doesn't seem to flow for me very well. He does, let's go over articulation right now anyways. So head is hindered by this, by his hair right here. And, you know, I think there's probably just a dumbbell joint floating through here, so that's why it doesn't go back as far as, let's say, your Marvel Legends. So this is about as high as you're going to be able to get him to look up without stressing you know, the hair or the joint. So if he's flying, it's going to be basically like that. His head goes down pretty nicely, not that far down. Again, it's that dumbbell joint is probably hitting the circumference of the neck, and that's why you're not going down as far as you think you might be able to. His head will tilt a little bit, not much, a little bit. And there's no gobble gobble action because I believe, let's say with this Batman figure, Hellbat, this is what the joint looks like. So that's going to be similar to what you're going to see with this Superman. But you know, he looks great on camera right there. He has this butterfly joint. You're not going to get a lot of range out of that, but it is there. I don't know if it's also because this cape is hindering his joint. So maybe, you know what, if I were into getting custom capes, that might be a good thing for him. That'll increase his range of motion maybe a little bit. It's hard for me to tell because it is hindering his backward movement. And it doesn't really seem to do that much for his forward movement, but at least it is there. His arms go greater than 90 degrees and it'll spin all the way around, so that's good. There's no, there is a bicep swivel, but you know, it's kind of limited by the sculpt. Speaking of his biceps, they're too big, and therefore he bends about 90, if not a little bit less. in these single jointed arms. If you had the Batman Detective Comics, Action Comics Batman, he has double jointed elbows. So this guy's got ball wrist for joints here, which does provide him, good range of motion. It's just a little ugly because they didn't cover it. And then the same thing is going to go for this side. And again, if you look at his hands look really sausagey, not done very well. So he's got a diaphragm joint, seems to do okay. He can bend that far to his right, bend that far to his left. He can bend that far forward and bend that far back. He does have a waist joint here. You can see he's got good range of motion in this waist joint, so that's a plus. So I guess that'll help him with some action poses. His hips are just like the Batman's, so he can do full splits or near full splits. You can see how the articulation is right there. It's kind of ugly, but it's okay. He can only kick up really this much before he's limited by some of this sculpt. But the sculpt is like kind of softer rubber, so he can lift up. And if you stress it too much, it will come off, but won't snap because there's little small pegs here, so it'll just end up detaching. Because I've already detached this leg once before. His knees are double jointed, and he can come close to kicking his butt. He's got ball hinge joints for his ankles, and can get good range of motion, or get good poses with that. But you just gotta finagle it in place. And he does have a toe hinge. So overall, articulation's okay. Head articulation could be better. Biceps could be better. It's just hiding the joint here and here could have been a lot better. So overall, he's a very nice figure. He's probably just going to be standing on my shelf or in kind of a flight pose with this thing here. And I guess he's good for the price point. I don't know, still on the fence. But if you're a fan of Superman, I would get him. He looks the prettiest to me of what's out there recently. And looking through the camera, he looks actually pretty good on camera, minus these joints. So, all right, I hope that helps you guys. Thanks for watching.